Kagaya Ubuyashiki passed away at the age of 23. His illness had progressively worsened, leaving him immobile and bedridden. Until that day, Kagaya had visited the graves of fallen Demon Slayer Corps members daily, never missing a single day. In Gyomei's memories, he recalls meeting a younger Kagaya for the first time. Gyomei was 18, and Kagaya was just 14. Gyomei was surprised to learn that someone of Kagaya's character was younger than himself. Kagaya immediately recognized that Gyomei had protected the children he was accused of killing, prompting Gyomei to bow in gratitude. Even at that young age, Kagaya spoke in a way people wanted to hear, and his solemn demeanor remained until his last moments. During their final conversation, Kagaya predicted that Muzan would arrive within 5 days and instructed Gyomei to kill him while using himself as bait. When asked about his certainty, Kagaya responded that it was just his instincts. It was revealed that the Ubuyashiki clan possessed a special calming voice and instinctual precognition, allowing them to foresee the future, which they used to become wealthy and avoid crises. Kagaya knew the other Hashiras would not accept his decision of self-sacrifice, so he asked Gyomei, whom he had known the longest, to carry out his last wish. Gyomei agreed, and Kagaya expressed his gratitude, requesting that Gyomei ensure none of his children died. Gyomei successfully beheaded Muzan with the assistance of Tamayo, who kept the demon still. As Kagaya had predicted, Muzan did not die and regenerated his head completely, which did not surprise Gyomei. He recalled Kagaya's words that sunlight was the only way to kill the Demon King. Gyomei surmised from the sound of Muzan's healing that his regeneration surpassed any demon he had faced. Despite the damage from the explosion, Muzan remained extremely powerful. Gyomei promised to restrain him until dawn. Muzan attempted to ensnare Gyomei with his blood demon art, Black Blood, Brambles. But Gyomei deflected the attack using Stone Breathing. Third form, Stone Skin. Sanemi soon arrived, angrily asking about Kagaya's fate, much to Gyomei's relief. The rest of the Hashira also arrived, calling out to Kagaya. Gyomei informed them that they were now facing Muzan Kibutsuji, shocking the Hashira as none had ever directly encountered him. Tanjiro, the only one present who had personally faced Muzan, angrily called out to him. In the Infinity Castle arc, giant doors suddenly appeared and slid open beneath the Demon Slayers, causing them to plummet into the Infinity Castle. Muzan mocked them for believing they had him cornered, declaring that they would now fall into hell and that he would kill them all. Tanjiro responded that Muzan would be the only one going to hell and promised to kill him. Muzan accepted the challenge, saying, "Then do it if you can. Tanjiro Kamado." Scene shifts. Tanjiro finds himself in a disorienting and perilous situation. The environment around him has been drastically altered by the enemy's blood demon technique, leaving him unable to distinguish directions. His confusion is palpable as he exclaims, "What is this place? I can't tell left from right here." He is struggling to make sense of his surroundings and realizes that the environment has been manipulated by the enemy's powers, making it difficult for him to navigate. Questions. Was this place created by the enemy's blood demon technique? This realization underscores the formidable nature of their adversary. Reflecting on recent events, Tanjiro recalls, "I don't exactly know what was happening back then, but Tamayo-san was pinning Muzan down." This indicates that Tamayo, an ally, was successfully holding off the powerful antagonist, Muzan. However, Tanjiro is acutely aware of the precariousness of their situation, expressing concern, "I don't know how long she can keep that up, though." The gravity of the battle is further emphasized when Tanjiro realizes, "The blade won't reach." This statement highlights the immense difficulty they face in overcoming Muzan's defenses. Driven by urgency and determination, Tanjiro resolves, "I have to head to where Muzan is and defeat him as soon as I can." His sense of urgency is clear as he concludes with a resolute, "I have to hurry." Tanjiro is in a perilous situation, facing the imminent danger of crashing into the ground. His thoughts reflect his desperation and quick thinking as he realizes, "I'm gonna die if I crash into the ground." To avoid this fate, Tanjiro decides to use his technique to change course, thinking, "I'll just change course by using my technique, then I'll grab a part of the building." This plan shows his resourcefulness and determination to survive. However, the situation is complicated by the immense pressure he is under, which prevents him from bracing himself properly. He acknowledges the difficulty. I can't brace myself either since the pressure is too strong, and notes that his posture is compromised. My posture's bad. After that, we see here Tanjiro falling uncontrollably. Desperately, he reaches for a ledge to halt his fall, but misses. Just as the situation seems dire, he braces for impact. At that very moment, a strong arm grasps him, pulling him to safety, and this is none other than Giyu, who is one of the Hashira of the Demon Slayer Corps who has come to his aid. Giyu intervenes with precise timing. He uses his techniques to alter Tanjiro's trajectory, preventing him from crashing into the ground. Giyu's swift and decisive action not only saves Tanjiro from a potentially fatal fall, but also allows him to regain his composure. Tanjiro expresses his gratitude, but their respite is short-lived as a demon lunges at them. Giyu shouted while saying Tanjiro, but Tanjiro swiftly dispatches it with water breathing, first form, water surface, slash. Suddenly, doors burst open behind them, unleashing a horde of demons. Tanjiro and Giyu spring into action. Tanjiro employs water breathing, the sixth form whirlpool, while Giyu uses the third form, dance of the fast-moving current. Their coordinated attacks decimate the demons in a flurry of motion. Tanjiro, awed by Giyu's precision and ability to anticipate his moves, praises him, though Giyu remains stoic. Together, they press on through the castle. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Obanai descends into the fray, slicing through numerous demons with serpent-breathing, fifth form, slithering serpent. He fiercely protects Mitsuri, who beams with joy at his arrival. After ensuring her safety, they continue their advance through the castle, as Gyomi and Muchiro carve a path through the demonic onslaught, noting the sheer number of enemies. Gyomei surmises that each demon is as powerful as a lower rank, their purpose to exhaust the demon slayers. When Muichiro inquires about Kagaya's fate, Gyomei solemnly reveals that he met a dignified end, using himself as a decoy to protect others. Muichiro, recalling Kagaya's unwavering support, vows to make Muzan suffer for taking their leader and father figure. Gyomei shares his sentiment, their resolve steeled by grief and anger. Sanemi, consumed by sorrow and rage over Kagaya's death, is filled with regrets that he couldn't protect him, and sits alone on a wooden platform. When demons attack, he effortlessly slashes them apart, his fury unrelenting. More demons converge, but Sanemi, tears streaming, demons began to appear one after another. Sanemi gave a sinister smile and challenged them all, declaring, "Come and get me. I will slaughter you all," determined to avenge his master. Meanwhile, Inosuke rampages through the castle, viewing each encounter as a test of his training. At first, he found himself bewildered, unsure of how he had ended up in this strange, chaotic place. The surroundings were bizarre and disorienting. But there was one thing he knew very well that there was no time to ponder. Demons began to fly at him from all directions. So instead of succumbing to fear, he thought it was a great chance to test out his training. Other side Genya, lost in the labyrinthine halls, worries about his comrades and brother. Zenitsu, hearing distant sounds, suspects someone present. He also thinks about the person who is responsible for his master's death and vows retribution. Shinobu, detecting the scent of blood, opens a door to find a demon amidst a pile of corpses. Doma, noticing her comments on her youthful appearance, and thanks Nakame for the opportunity, setting the stage for a deadly confrontation. Shinobu Kocho is driven by the desire to avenge her sister. This chapter highlights her determination to fulfill this promise despite the odds. In this chapter, it is shown that Shinobu Kocho, who is the Insect Hashira of the Demon Slayer Corps, goes into her flashback. In this flashback, we see Kanai's last moments, who is Shinobu's late sister, who was killed by an upper-rank demon. In the flashback, Kanai asks Shinobu to leave the Demon Slayer Corps and live a normal life. But Shinobu is overwhelmed with grief and anger and refuses Kanai's plea. She told her that she would never quit until she avenged her sister's death and couldn't accept a life of normalcy after the loss of her beloved sister. Her emotions are raw and intense as she demands to know the identity of the demon who is responsible for Kanai's condition. In this critical moment, memories of her sister Kanai flood her mind. She vividly recalls the day Kanai described the upper-rank demon's true identity to her. While taking her last breath, Kanai described the demon who drove her to this condition. With a gentle yet serious expression, she warned Shinobu about him. "Shinobu, if you ever encounter a demon with a calm and kind demeanor, always smiling and speaking softly. Be cautious. That demon is Duma, the upper moon too. He is extremely dangerous, despite his gentle appearance. In a different section, Shinobu saw an upper-rank demon who had already killed lots of girls and eaten them one by one. The demon speaks in a gentle and calm manner. Doma introduced himself to Shinobu very calmly and gently. Shinobu then noticed Doma's appearance, where there were blood stains on the top of his head, and he was trying to kill another girl who asked Shinobu for help. Shinobu saved the girl, but Doma killed her immediately. Then she notices that he has a pair of sharp fans in his hands which he uses as his weapons. At that moment, Shinobu's resolve hardens. She recognizes the demon's deceptive nature, just as Kanai had described. Doma's serene smile and soothing voice are a stark contrast to the monstrous reality hidden beneath. Shinobu's determination to avenge her sister's death intensifies, knowing that she is facing the very demon Kanai had warned her about. After killing that girl, Doma tells Shinobu that he is the founder of the Eternal Paradise cult, so he must make all his worshippers, including himself, happy, so he'll eat her up without leaving a single speech. Shinobu was astonished and filled with hatred and said with anger, "Make everyone happy? Don't be insane. This girl was screaming for help just now." Doma stands before Shinobu, his eyes gleaming with a sinister light. His voice is calm, almost soothing, but the madness in his eyes betrays his true nature. Doma's reply to Shinobu is astonishing and crazed. He replies, "So that's why I saved her. There's nothing to be afraid of. She's not feeling any more pain, nor is she suffering. Now they get to live together with me forever. And that's why I eat them all up." From Doma's perspective, it is demonstrated here that he finds humans interesting because they have different values and emotions. His calm demeanor and twisted logic make him a terrifying antagonist. He believes that by killing humans, he is helping them, which adds to his psychopathic nature. "I made sure to accept, rescue, and guide them all to enlightenment," he began, his tone almost reverent. The room seemed to grow colder as he continued all the feelings of his worshippers. His words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of his twisted devotion. "Blood flesh," he added, his voice dropping to a whisper that sent shivers down the spine. Duma's expression was one of serene madness, a stark contrast to the horror his words conveyed. In his mind, he was a savior, leading his followers to a dark and twisted form of salvation. The reality, however, was far more sinister, a nightmare from which there was no escape. In the dimly lit chamber, the tension was palpable. Shinobu's voice cut through the silence like a knife. "There's no way, you're insane." Her eyes narrowed as she stared at Duma. "Are you right in the head?" She stood firm, her eyes blazing with a mix of fury and disgust, and she added, "You're actually making me vomit here." She spat out, her voice trembling with emotion. Doma, unfazed, tilted his head slightly and feigned innocence. "Oh, I know. How come you're being this harsh, even though we only met just now?" he responded. Doma's smile widened. His expression remained unchanged. His gaze was unwavering. "If there's anything bothering you, I'll make sure to listen, so come on, speak up," he added, his tone mocking and condescending. Shinobu's fists clenched at her sides, her heart pounding in her chest. She took a deep breath, her voice steadying as she confronted the demon before her. "Anything bothering me?" Her voice barely above a whisper. She continued with her rising voice, "You're the one who killed my sister," she asked with rage. The demon's eyes widened with a mix of frustration and longing. "Ah!" he growled, his voice echoing through the darkened space. He muttered to himself, recalling a distant memory, and said, "You mean the flower breath girl from before?" A wistful smile crossed his face as he reminisced. "She was such a sweet and cute girl. I missed out on eating her because of the sun coming up. I remember her." The memory of the rising sun forcing him to retreat is still fresh in his mind. Then his tone shifted, tinged with regret. "But I really wanted to eat her all." Upon hearing Doma mention her sister Kanai, Shinobu launched a sudden attack. She wasted no time in launching her attack. With swift and precise movements, she used her insect breathing technique, Dance of the Bee Sting, True Flutter, aiming directly at Doma's right eye. Her speed and accuracy catch Doma off guard, and he is unable to dodge the attack in time. Despite the initial success, Duma quickly recovers and retaliates with his blood demon art Frozen Lotus, summoning a flurry of ice lotuses that filled the air with a bone-chilling cold. The icy petals swirled around Shinobu, forcing her to retreat and dodge the freezing assault. The cold was intense, enough to rip through someone's lungs, making it difficult for Shinobu to maintain her offensive. Despite the freezing air and the danger it posed, she remained focused and her resolve unwavering. "You are fast, huh?" Doma taunted, his voice dripping with mockery. But Shinobu was undeterred, her mind set on avenging her sister and defeating the powerful demon before her. Shinobu's grip tightened on her weapon, but "It's just too bad. You can't kill demons by just stabbing," Doma remarked with a laugh. Making fun of Shinobu, Duma mockingly remarked again, "You really gotta go for the neck." But her eyes filled with determination, she lunged forward, aiming her blade with precision. "Well," she began, trying to maintain her composure, "I may not be able to kill you with stabbing, but how about with poison?" Doma's expression shifted slightly, a hint of surprise crossing his face. Shinobu stood resolute, her gaze fixed on Doma. "I don't know if this poison will work on an upper moon," she contemplated. She knew the stakes were high, but she was prepared to give it her all. She observed intently, her heart racing. At that moment, she remembered her sister and hoped her sister's spirit would lend her the strength she needed. The realization hit Doma as Shinobu's blade made contact. The poison she had infused into her weapon began to take effect, causing him to gasp in pain, his confidence wavering as the poison spread through his body. He struggled to catch his breath. Shinobu, observing his condition, Doma, with a derisive smile, taunted her. "This poison is significantly stronger than the one you used on Rui's mountain," he remarked, his tone laced with mockery. He seemed confident, almost as if he found her efforts amusing. "It seems," Doma began, his voice dripping with condescension. "Sorry about that," he continued, feigning an apology. "I was able to decompose your poison." Which means he neutralized its effects. His words were like daggers, piercing through Shinobu's resolve. Shinobu's eyes widened in shock as she had worked hard to create a poison strong enough to defeat Doma. Doma's rapid adaptation to her poison puts her at a disadvantage. Duma further taunts her by acknowledging her efforts, saying, "And I know you worked so hard to use it," his tone mocking her efforts. He is intrigued by the unique sound of her blade makes when she changes the poison mix and puts it back into its sheath. Doma expresses his enjoyment of the situation and finds the experience of being attacked with poison entertaining and even suggests he might enjoy it, further mocking Shinobu. He admits that he anticipated this outcome, showing his confidence and dismissing the threat posed by Shinobu's poison. Despite the pain and the mockery, Shinobu's spirit remained unbroken. She knew she had to keep fighting, not just for herself, but for her fallen comrades and her beloved sister Kanai. Her determination was unwavering, even in the face of such a formidable opponent. The episode ends here. Stay subscribed for more Demon Slayer episodes and fresh manga cover.